Children got to be free to lead their own lives. You always say that?
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. The live-action Little Mermaid movie does its best to honor the original film, but also the film goes out of its way to change one important aspect of the original, Ariel.
What the hell did you just say?
No, put your dinglehoppers down. I am not talking about the race of the actress. I'm talking about the plethora of articles covering the production team and star's statements on modernizing Ariel. Since its release in 1989, people have discussed whether or not Ariel is progressive, feminist, and a good role model for young kids. Mindy Kaling has called the film problematic, and Kiera Knightly doesn't even let her daughter watch it.
I mean, the songs are great, but do not give your voice up for a man. Hello?
Which is weird because the scene with her in Love Actually with her stalker is way more problematic than Little Mermaid. And then, in an interview with The Face, Halle Bailey, the actress who brilliantly plays Ariel in the new movie, stated, "What's beautiful about this version of The Little Mermaid is that it's a lot more modern. When we saw it, when we were younger, she gave up everything for the guy. But I don't think that reflects modern women today. So now it's more about Ariel finding freedom for herself because of this world she's obsessed with. Prince Eric, the handsome shipwreck human for whom she gives it all up, is a cherry on top, but it's not all about him." And she's not alone. There are dozens of comments on social platforms claiming that Ariel gives up her voice for a man. I mean, I have a question. Did we watch the same movie? Ariel didn't give up everything for a man. In fact, her decision was never about Eric to begin with.
Say what?
That's right, I'm about to break down just why you've been watching Disney's 1989 The Little Mermaid wrong this entire time.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
The biggest misconception floating around is that the animated film's plot goes like this. Ariel is a princess living in Atlantica whose dad forbids the merfolk from interacting with the human race. One night she encounters a ship with humans, most notably a prince, and instantly falls in love. Now when a hurricane hits, she rescues Prince Eric from drowning and vows to become part of his world. The sea witch Ursula steps in when her father destroys the statue of her love, granting her wish to be with Eric. She has 3 days to get the prince to fall in love, or she turns back into a mermaid. True love ends up triumphing. The king gives her legs and they get married. The end. Well, yeah, isn't that what happens? It is if you're just looking at the B plot of the script. The what? The subplot, not the main plot.
I don't get it.
From what I can tell, people's critiques stem from the belief that the romance in The Little Mermaid is the A plot, or the driving plot of the protagonist, Ariel. When in fact, the primary relationship that is moving the film along is not Ariel and Eric, but Ariel and King Triton.
What?
Yes, and I can prove it using Freytag's pyramid, which covers the basic structure of storytelling: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and a resolution. At the film's beginning and exposition phase, Eric is introduced as a bystander, being told of a mighty king who rules the seas.
King Triton must be in a friendly type mood.
The audience is given specific information essential to the plot. Triton is the ruler of the merpeople, and Triton controls the sea. We learn nothing of Eric besides that he loves sailing.
The salty sea air, the wind blowing in your face. Perfect day to be at sea.
That's it. We don't know yet that he's a prince, that he needs to get married, and what he feels about that pressure. The script merely places him there to act as an audience member being introduced to the fact that this world has merpeople and a powerful ruler. Then, as we travel under the sea, we get introduced to the king's daughter, Ariel, who has skipped performing for her father to instead collect human items from a sunken ship. She then takes these items to a seagull named Scuttle to, learn about what they are.
What is it?
It's a dinglehoppers.
Spying on Ariel is the sea witch Ursula, who Triton has banished from the kingdom. In her lair, she plots revenge against the king.
She may be the key to Triton's undoing.
Now, why would she be the key? Triton disapproves of Ariel's interest in the human world.
You could have been seen by one of those barbarians, by one of those humans.
Daddy, they're not barbarians.
Whether or not humans are barbarians is the propelling question that needs to be answered in this movie. Ariel and Triton's take on humans motivates their actions throughout the film. Alone in her secret grotto, she laments her frustrations with her father and sings about her wants and aspirations, aka her I Want song. What's an I Want song? An I Want song in musicals sets up the desire of the leading character that will drive the action for the rest of the show.
What's that one concrete goal that motivates all your action?
I don't think I have one of those.
Well, then how's anyone supposed to sympathize with you, Paul?
Historically, until the release of this movie, I Want songs from Disney female protagonists did tend to focus on romantic desires. Snow White's I'm Wishing, Cinderella's A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes,
You will lose your heartache.
and Aurora's I Wonder.
Why each little bird has
someone.
Part of Your World switched that narrative by specifically excluding any mention of romance or a lover. In fact, it makes a point to add right before Ariel modulates,
Bet they don't reprimand their daughters, bright young women, sick of swimming.
which is a direct statement about her dad. Ariel believes if she were human, she'd feel seen, heard, and understood. That is really what she wants. Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel, has said that Ariel is going for that unreachable thing, something that she's determined and ready to go for, even to the point of standing up against her father with a stubborn spirit. She speaks up and tells it like it is for her. And she has paved the way for the more modern protagonists that encourage their viewers to go out and discover themselves and others. And she's right. The longing to break out of your mold because you're feeling out of place became the staple of every 90s Disney animated musical since.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere.
There's so much more to me.
But I dreamed the day might send just around the river bend.
Give me one day out there. I will find my way. I can go the distance.
When will my reflection shine?
Writers John Musker and Ron Clements, plus composers Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, made sure that we, the audience, understood this about Ariel before the story's inciting incident, the rescue of Eric. An inciting incident occurs closely after we've been introduced to our protagonist's ambitions, or wants, and this triggers the plot into the story's rising action. Her instant crush on Eric may seem unrealistic, but it's pretty standard even in today's modern era. Yeah, we tend to develop crushes that are based around our interests. That cute girl at the comic shop, the hot guy at the punk show, you get the idea. Teenage crushes are often gateways into cultures that we want to be a part of because as teenagers we're trying to find out where we fit in the world. My point is that our interests affect our attractions, and that when you're a teenager in the middle of your sexual awakening, your attractions are felt far more intensely. That fact, I would argue, doesn't make Ariel less progressive, it makes her more human. Eric's role in this film could be labeled more as a MacGuffin for Ariel and Ursula, especially regarding Ursula's need for revenge against Triton. She's aware that Ariel wants to be human, is now interested in a human, and that her father will hate it.
Her daddy'll love that.
So she plots to use Eric to con Ariel, which will in turn bring about Triton's doom. Eric is not vital to Ariel's core desires based on her I Want song, but his presence moves the story into its rising action phase. Ariel becomes human. Everyone, including her father, witnesses Ariel's Twitter-pated behavior.
Nearly everybody gets Twitter-pated in the springtime.
Triton, attempting to support his daughter's feelings, summons Sebastian, who has been tasked with looking after her. But Sebastian, misinterpreting that he's been caught, lets it spill who Ariel is really mooning over.
Who said anything about humans?
Hot-tempered and concerned, Triton confronts his daughter's behavior and again argues about the overarching question. Are humans barbarians?
I don't have to know him. They're all the same. Spineless, savage, harpooning fish eaters.
In an act not unlike when Daniel chopped Anthony's tablet in half, Triton punishes Ariel's behavior by destroying everything in her grotto, including the statue of Eric that Flounder miraculously found for her. Yeah, what? How's that? I know, let's just swim past that. Triton leaves Ariel distraught and vulnerable, which is a perfect time for Ursula to step in and play fairy godmother.
The only way to get what you want is to become a human yourself.
Can you do that?
Ursula spins this narrative that she has repented, and now she uses her powers to help these poor, unfortunate souls that can't help themselves. The Sea Witch pitches that she can turn Ariel into a human for 3 days, and she must receive a true love kiss to stay that way. Oh, and she must do all this without talking or singing.
See, now that's some bullshit.
It's a god-awful deal, and to Ariel's credit, she questions it the entire time, even thinking about what that would mean for her relationships with her family.
If I become human, I'll never be with my father or sisters again.
That's right.
Remember that Ariel knows little about the human world and their social customs. Giving up her voice seems extreme to her. However, Ursula kind of tells her that having a voice is not really useful or respected on the land.
They don't like a lot of blabber. They think a girl who gossips is a bore.
With that compelling case, any 16-year-old with raging teenage hormones who was mad at her father and being manipulated by a seeming savior figure would do dramatic things. After Ariel becomes human, Eric becomes more of a proactive character. He takes her in, shelters and feeds her, and shows her his world. Eric would have even married Ariel without her voice had Ursula not stepped in, which is a testament to his character. But remember, Ursula wants to hurt Triton and gain his kingdom. so Ariel must fail.
I'll see him wriggle like a worm on a hook.
The climax begins when Ariel doesn't make the deadline and turns back into a mermaid, giving Ursula leverage against Triton.
Do we have a deal?
Caught between a coral and a hard place, Triton agrees to switch places for the love of his daughter, which turns him into a polyp instead of Ariel. Ursula now has his crown and is mighty Triton.
I am the ruler of all the ocean!
She would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for Eric, who drives a wrecked ship into Ursula's heart. Some have argued that Ariel should have been the one to defeat Ursula, and they did change this in the Broadway version. I'd like to counter this assumption though. The script's overarching question is whether or not humans are barbarians, right? Eric saving Triton and his kingdom proves that Ariel has been correct and Triton has been mistaken. Also, Ariel had saved Eric twice now, once at the beginning and once when Ursula tried to fry him. He should lift some weight somewhere around in this relationship. Plus, I don't believe that Triton would have let his daughter marry Eric had he not witnessed how much he cared for Ariel and her world. So, Eric killing Ursula makes sense when you approach it from that angle. Sure, the live-action version will probably change that, but I hope they have Eric participate somehow purely for the sake of Triton's character growth. The following action of the film comes with the defeat of Ursula. King Triton concedes to the fact,
Children got to be free to lead their own lives.
Then I guess there's just one problem left.
And what's that, Your Majesty?
How much I'm going to miss her.
Therefore, he waves his Triton and blesses his daughter with legs so she can become part of the human world permanently. Our film's resolution arrives as Ariel and her father's conflict ends. At the wedding held on a ship to unite both worlds, they embrace each other as she whispers,
I love you, Daddy.
which is the movie's last line. When you follow the film through Freytag's pyramid, it's more evident that you just watched a movie about a daughter coming into her own and her father learning to accept that reality. Every central plot point that I've walked you through deals with their relationship dynamic over Eric and Ariel's. Both Ariel and Triton have a character arc. Eric does not. Actually, there's very little time given to Eric in general. I believe that's because Eric was written to represent the good in humanity for the sake of Ariel and Triton's conflict, and he's not really there for any other reason. That's not a dig at Eric, or at the story's romance, it's just not what the writers intended to focus on. And this animated film also had a very specific runtime to meet, restricting which characters writers could develop. Now that the live-action version can have a longer runtime, we can learn more about him and his world. Rob Marshall has stated, there's a whole story that's developed in our film. He has a mother, a queen, that's new to the film. He has a very similar trajectory in a way to Ariel. He doesn't feel like it's where he fits in, his world. Now this hints that Ariel and Eric will follow a similar path that Aladdin and Jasmine were given in their animated film.
You're not free to make your own choices.
Sometimes you feel so
You're just
trapped.
Expanding on Eric would add more textures to the film, yet he's not the story's point and he never was. That's my point. And this really bugs us because we love our girl Ariel, and we genuinely believe that she has always been a passionate spirit and a pioneer for independent thought. Also because she resonated with audiences. The Little Mermaid saved a failing company and introduced what we now lovingly call the Disney Renaissance. Sounds like a good role model to me. I agree, Doug, and for those parents who disagree, I defer again to Jodie Benson, who states, if you're going to boycott Ariel, that's fine. Every parent has the right to choose what they want their children to see or not see. I respectfully don't see things the way they do. I don't see how a film with so many wonderful things could be bad. Well, you're just saying all this because you're a man. Because I did not even write the words that I am saying right now. These were written by a woman and ScreenCrush contributor named Bevan, and I have no control over anything that I am saying. Blurbity blah blah blob. What's that mean? No idea. I didn't write it. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my assessment about the film? Did Ariel go to the surface for a man? Did she go for herself? Is she a good role model, or did we get it all wrong? Whatever your thoughts are, let us know down in the comments below, or you can @ me on Twitter. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.